Hi there, welcome back to another BobBlast. I'm Bob Burridge, and I'm not in a Royal Grande right now. I'm in Hawaii, getting ready to do a demo this Sunday afternoon here at the Hawaii Watercolor Society. Just got finished jurying their show, and now I'm about to do a demo. And we'll catch you a little bit later. Let's see what I do. Always, always, always start off loose. I'll wait till that finishes. It's all right. Don't you just hate it when that happens? It's so embarrassing.
Make sure.
So I am going to be working on watercolor paper. So let me just introduce to you. I know you know all this stuff, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here. So, but let me just show you what I use, okay? And as I'm not the authority on any of this stuff. I'm a painter just like everybody in this class. I just got lucky to be on this side of the table this morning, okay? So I love, if it dissolves in water, I'm painting with it. So I do paint with watercolors, really good watercolors. I paint with really good acrylics and my fluid acrylics. Okay, everybody makes these. I know you found your favorite brand. My favorite brand happens to be Holbein paints. Watercolors are Holbein paints. My favorite acrylic paints are Holbein also. The reason I like the Holbein paints is because they're 100% pure pigment. So, and I know you go through sticker shock. You go to the art store, or Cheap Joe catalog, or Jerry's catalog, something like that, and you get cadmium red. Oh my gosh, $9,000. And I know what you do. You go over to the other, oh, here's one for $2.99. I know, I've watched you. And you say, well, I'll try this. And you'll never be satisfied because what you're using is cheaper paints, which means has less pigment. And you'll never get the color that's been promised to you on that label. And that's why you keep putting more paint on it. It's got to get better. It's got to get better. And that's what it turns into, you know what, caca. So I have been spoiled. I worked my way through all the top brands. And finally ended up with, and you know the Daniel Smiths, the Holbein, Sennelier, the good paints. So I don't need to tell you all about those. So those are the paints that I happen to use. All right. I do use the watercolors, the acrylics, and the fluid acrylics, and I combine them all. I'm not a purist, which kind of surprises an awful lot of people. So I'm not a purist. I'm a painter. And if it's going to work for me, I use it. So that's what I'm going to be using today. All right? My brushes, I have a cacophony of kinds of brushes. And I do have really nice brushes. I have the sables. I actually have one $500 sable brush. I don't paint with it. I put it in a tabernacle, light candles, incense, and I bow to it every morning. Every morning. So I do. So my favorite brushes are the really cheap ones that fall apart. Yay, from the hardware store. I love it. Hair falls out. Yay, more texture. So I'm not a clean freak either. I'm here to see how far I can go. And so I do have different kinds of brushes here. So I have nice watercolor brushes, which I destroy all the time. Yay. Now, my papers that I use. My favorite papers happen to be Fabriano. I know you all use arches because it's in every art store and everyone talks about arches. I discovered many, many years ago, my favorite is Fabriano paper. If it's good enough for Rembrandt, it's good enough for me. That's how long they've been making this paper in Italy. Now, I should also tell you a dirty little secret. I know you probably have a Cheap Joe catalog, and you saw the Cheap Joe's watercolor paper, a whole lot less expensive than everybody else's. And it's called Kilimanjaro. Get it. Get it. It's as good as Fabriano Artistico. I know you were a little wary about that. Say, oh, it's so much less expensive. And I do buy 100 sheets at a time. And if you buy 100 sheets at a time, I've got it down to like $6 for a full sheet, 300 pounds. Oh, sure, now you're paying attention. If you take my workshop, I'm going to save you $1 million. Seriously, so I won't be able to cover all that stuff, but I'm going to show you how to save $1 million. Question already.
So how does it compare, Kilimanjaro, how does that compare to arches?
Okay, good question. How does Kilimanjaro compare to arches? For me, arches is too brittle. Arches is very, very brittle. And It has that unpleasant aroma sometimes, and you know what I'm talking about. When as soon as you wet it, it has that unpleasant aroma, which it's not your gym socks. It's the sizing that they use in watercolor paper, and sizing is made from horse hooves. Have you ever smelled wet horse before? Okay, so and also it's very stiff. If I did this to arches, it would snap, crackle, and pop. This is Fabriano. It's like leather. 300-pound leather, and it's been gessoed and everything. I'm not going to show you the painting, but there you are. Look how flexible this is. It takes a beating and keeps on ticking. So my favorite paper is Fabriano Artistico and also Cheap Joe's Kilimanjaro. So I actually, and the first people that came out with that course were Golden's Fluid Acrylics. You water them down, they're incredible quality. The advantage of an fluid acrylic is you can treat it like a watercolor, but of course after it dries it doesn't lift, and you can keep doing your layering and layering without any fear of it lifting. That's the advantage, and that's when I kind of swung over to acrylics more often, acrylics. And so the acrylics I found to have the most pigment were Holbein, Sennetier's, and the Goldens. You know, they're the tops for me, and Daniel Smith. There are others, try them. That's the only way you're going to get better. Just try everybody. Alrighty. My gesso I told you about. I have paper ready to go. I've already gessoed it. So a simple ball. A simple ball. And if you have a ball in this dark room that we have here, and I turned off all the lights, I put a ball right here. Big ball right here. And I gave you a flashlight and told you to shine on the ball. What's going to happen, it's going to look just like this, where it's going to be light on one side of the ball and dark on the other side. Light doesn't go around the corner. So what's going to happen is exactly what you see here is in a dark room, you're going to see dark on this side, and you see the light of the ball, the dark side of the moon, and if the light is coming across here, it's going to light that wall over here. It's a beam of light. So what you have is dark against light, dark against light. You're going to be so sick and tired of hearing me saying dark against light, dark against light. That's one way. Of course, there's the other natural light way where you open up the garage door and all the light comes in. You know, it's all nice and bright around the window, the light source. And as you get deeper past your Mercedes and get closer to the washer and dryer machine, it gets darker in there in the garage, right? So I prefer this because it's more dramatic. So I have dark, light, right? So having said that, we're going to get started. So now I'm not going to worry about dark light. I just want to let you know that's how I get started on a lot of things. But today I want to just start off being goofy. All right? Excuse me, goofier. So I have some paper. I have a quarter sheet here taped down. All right? And I'm going to start off with looseness. So the paints that I have here, I'm going to start right off the bat with fluid acrylics. Yeah, fluid acrylics. And your favorite color, opera. Oh. Yeah, ooh. Oh my God, opera! And you're so afraid of it, you know. Brand new tubes here. Let's open up here. Brand new tube. And so, because you're so afraid of it, I want you to measure it out exactly. Are you having a heart attack already? He's having a heart attack already. And this is a watercolor course, so I'm using lots of, oh, by the way, paper, my favorite brush for paper towels, Vivas. And so if you're worried about my hands, I've already put like a Burt's Bees or some type of Vaseline. I have some kind of a hand barrier cream on my hands already. Now, the reason I have a hand barrier cream is because I usually wear those gloves, but I put holes through them. And they don't last for about more than 5 minutes. So I'm putting all these colors, this cream on my hand, by the way, and so I'm not concerned about toxicity. I should be, though, shouldn't I? I used to be taller and a girl. Never mind. I came from.
Is that gessoed paper?
This paper has been, yes. Thank you. The reason I know it's gesso is because I have a pencil. Before I gesso my paper, I put a pencil mark on the back, all over, so when I cut it up, I know which side's been gessoed. Duh. I can't tell the difference here. So, yes, it's been gessoed already, and I had to check to make sure it was. So I'm just going to put this down here. So I'm making sure I'm having like way too much fun. Of course, we all know about isopropyl alcohol.
Alcohol?
Yeah. don't do that. And you sprinkle it on. By the way, those of you, and it gives you those little eddies. Those of you who are using alcohol, rubbing alcohol, it makes these little bubbles and things like that. It's pretty cool. It's about the only gimmick I use. I like it. It helps me loosen it up. By the way, if those of you who do use rubbing alcohol, don't put it in those little misters, those little don't do that. Notice what I did. I took it right here and splashed, because if you missed it, it vaporizes and gets into your lungs. Yeah, I'm 94 years old. All right. So let's get right into colors here. I'm going to mix my watercolors with my acrylics. Oh my God! He's mixed watercolors. Oh, this boy's crazy. Me, it's paint. There we go. And notice my paper, my table, of course, is covered with this plastic.
Did the alcohol change the ochre to that orangey color?
No, I actually added some yellow, to it.
Oh, okay.
It's hard to see the color in here and other lighting in here, I know. Do our best. So look at all the freedom I have here. Now I'm going to start getting into colors and brushes. Yeah. Water. If you are right-handed, amazing how you got it. If you're right-handed, please put the water on the right side. It's amazing how you all sabotage yourself. Well, here I go. You do everything to avoid painting. Come close anytime you want to. Don't let me interrupt you. You should have been my first date last
I
night.
didn't understand why you put the alcohol in it.
Oh, I see. Because it's fun to do. It makes a nice mess, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm making a mess. This God help me. I'm making a mess on this particular one. And let me add some more stuff. Let me add some of this color in here too. Trust me, it's a great way to start the day. Measure it all out. You should see me cook. I'm actually a darn good cook. So and you know you want to do this. I know you want to do this, so I don't know why you're not doing it. I'm mixing, here we go, some blue. Use some blue watercolor. And then we'll get into the other colors too. So whether you're using a brush, don't need to splash it. This kind of stuff. Thank you for this. This is beautiful. I'm going to use it later on. More alcohol. More alcohol. Here we go. More alcohol.
Sorry, guys.
And what do we have here? Some even darker. I'm going to keep on going. Now, I'm not using a specific color wheel combination on this particular one, okay? This is the other way of painting. Just staying really loose, wet. Now here I am. Here we go. But what I'm working on right now is contrast. I want a lot of contrast. One of the things I notice in watercolor painters, all the values are the same, they're all soft and all that. Nothing wrong with that, but I don't happen to like dramatic, no kidding. I like dramatic paintings, so that means a lot of darks and lights going in there. I'm also using a lot of crazy stuff, like the alcohol, and I have no problem using white. Oh God, I sent it to a watercolor class. My white happens to be, they sell it in the art store. Why? Any art instructor says never use white. Why not? They sell it. And don't tell John Singer Sargent not to use white, okay? And then there's the instructors say never use black. Why not? They sell it. Don't tell Henri Matisse not to use black. You got it? So any art instructor that tells you an absolute, you're going to run far, run fast, and you know you're going to do it with an on around. So my white happens to be gesso. I don't use titanium white. I use a lot of white. I do large canvases. And so I happen to like Utrecht's gesso for my white because it has so much titanium in it. And so, and I use a lot of white in my stuff too. So you'll see a jar here of gesso. That's the white I'm going to be using. So I put everything here on the table. We're ready to go. So first thing I'm going to, I want to add some green up here too. Some green. Here's some white. And green. Go. Go. It's green up here, too. Only because I have an idea of what I want to paint. All right. First of all, I'm making a mess. Now, just so I don't waste your time this afternoon, we're going to sit around and wait for this thing to dry. Put this in the oven at 450. And here it is. So I'm going to, and you see where I'm going to go on some of this here. I'm going to add some more cleanup in here, all over the place. When you paint, you should have paint everywhere. Some of it even on the canvas. Everywhere. Don't you? And here's the problem. I just see people working on a painting starting from the top. They work it that way like they're pulling down a blind. Or they'll do the object first, and then they paint the area around it. You should have paint everywhere in the first 10 minutes of a painting. That's how I paint, and it's how I was taught. Everywhere, because it's all about, it's all about color relating to other color, and darks and lights. Have it everywhere. And I start off everywhere, just like this. So now I'm ready to go do what I call negative shade painting. Negative shade painting. I'll let this dry here a little bit. Cool. Show people how much fun it is to be a painter, not how difficult. Here's the kiss of death. The kiss of death on your painting. When someone looks at your painting, they'll say, wow, you must have worked really long and hard on that painting. You want somebody to look at your work and say, wow, you're just having way too much fun. That's what you want to get across. The other kiss of death is when they look at your painting, they say this. Nice frame. I'll talk about framing at the end of my workshop, not today here. So we're going to do some crazies. So one of the, and you all know this. I'm waiting for this to dry here for a second. You all know this. So here's your watercolor. This is a watercolor. Use this gesso combined with a color. Oh, let's use that color, only because it's on the table. There we go.
Excuse me.
Yes, please.
Is it gesso opaque?
Yes, it is. And that's the whole point. Yes, gesso is opaque, and you can get clear gesso, though, by the way, too. Yeah, but this is opaque because I want to get rid of the part that doesn't look like what I'm going after. So it's pretty obvious what I think you might have already figured out what I'm doing, since you've probably painted 100 of these so far living here in Hawaii. Can you guess what it's going to be? Hello, it's not a papaya. Here we go. So now I'm going to do the negative space. The negative space is, I always start off abstractly like this. Now I'm going to get rid of the part that doesn't serve me, as we say. So there's a pony in here somewhere, I always like to say. And so you saw how much fun I had at the very beginning. I know detail. Don't give me those little octagon little shapes of all those sections of a pineapple. I was looking at one this morning. It's such a beautiful fruit and tastes so good too. But you all fall into drawing every little spiky thing and all those little octagons or hexagons, I don't know what shape they are. And you're working so hard doing that. Use that for illustrators. You're not an illustrator, you're a painter. I know you like to do illustrations, but that's not what I'm here for right now. So here I am getting rid of every part that doesn't look like, wow. Excuse me, I shouldn't have said that. I even impress myself sometimes. I'm having like way too much. I'm going to stop at this point.
Oh.
See? Shame on you for not seeing it before. Neener, neener, neener. Crazy, isn't it? It's a crazy way of painting. I'll leave these out for those of you who want to photograph a little later on. It might be easier.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I'm going to keep on painting. So, keep on painting. Show people how much fun it is to be a painter, not how boring it is to be a painter. I'll get my head out of the way so you can kind of see. Woo. Crazy, isn't it? Oh, I want to put a shadow in here. A shadow in here. I want to anchor it, so I'm putting a shadow. There's my shadow. I made it bluish. Back, I'll paint the table. Oh my God, he said. Oh my God, this boy's crazy. Love it. Thank you. Here's the table. Now, the only way to look at your painting is to look at it through an old discarded mat.
Yeah.
You can't judge your painting in the same area that where you created because you have all this competition. So that's why you want to get the painting off the table or up on the wall, or at least if it's stuck on the table, you put a mat over it. You can see exactly what's right or wrong at this point. This is the way you look at your work. That's why you see a lot of photographs of artists sitting in their studios staring at their paintings while they're sitting in the chair. It's called long looking or slow seeing. You need to stop and look at your work. It's one of the things you never do because you're afraid of seeing what you think you're going to see. You need to stop and look at your work. This is just the beginning. It's real simple. Here in this particular one, I don't have a dark against light, dark against light. This is where it's all even lighting. I'm going to switch it over. I'm going to switch it over to the dark light thing, right? So this is one way of, and I could have signed it and sold it. It'd be fine. But since I'm talking about darks and lights, I'm going to talk about dark, and I'm going to paintbrush free. In fact, I work all day long with dirty water. This ought to surprise you and freak you all out. You spend more time in the bathroom changing your water. You should be on the studio painting the whole time. I like to paint with dirty water. So here we go, dark light, dark light. We're switching over to something else. Okay, here we go, the dark side. Uh-oh, he's going to the dark side. Here we go, dark side, here we go. Make it a little bit more dramatic. Does any of this make sense? I don't know, but am I having a good time? Alrighty. So if it's dark on that side, it's going to be a little dark on this side. I'm using my number 4 brush right now. Showing people how exciting it is to be a painter and not how boring it is to be a painter. This happens to be yellow, it's marigold, which is transparent. There we go. It's white. White. Here we go, the white. A little highlight in here, a little bling bling, really kicking it up. See where we're going at this point. We're still not finished, but just want to let you see where it's going to start dripping. This is one of the reasons why I don't paint on an easel, because I paint so wet. And if I was on an easel, it starts dripping down. I haven't taught my paint to do this yet. It doesn't get any better, so I'm sorry. Just pray for me. Okay? I need all the prayers I can get this week. Your ride's here.
You turned it off.
Time to call the grandkids and ask them how to turn off the phone. Right? So all I'm working on right now is getting the dark lights, and so I'm adding more lights, more darks. Notice how I work all over the painting all at the same time. I'm excited about this. I mean, I paint all day long from 7:30 to 8 at night, every day. I watch football games, thank goodness for football at Thursday nights now, right? If I get to see it. I'm pretty excited about being able to be in a studio and paint all the time and have somebody else handle me. We all need a handler, right? So at this point, this painting is done. This painting is all done. It is what it is. It's not meant to be this magnificent little thing. It is what it is. Dark against light, dark against light. A lot of color. I made it up. Notice I haven't used a photograph. Bless your hearts. I know you have photographs. You're out there like, oh no! Again, can you imagine getting an applause for doing something you love to do? But thank you so much.